One time. Jump out.
You have one?
Yeah, that's 17. What? Huh? Rats? No, oh, you,
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much.
stop on that ancient road.
No.
What? Oh. You didn't talk about this. What is the cover for this? You wanna know, is it the jump rope?
I tried to save onto the jump drive and it said an error has occurred. So I don't know if that's me. Yeah. Yeah. Nope, this information is not helpful. Let me try something.
That's weird. Why let me pull up my ballot?
Well, I guess we can all go home then.
There is not enough space.
Oh, see? Alright. Got you covered there. 16 here. Let's go out. I'll do this. On here.
Let's call 1AC car wake. The other car is on paper.
Do you want a tub?
Oh, I already have it on here. So it's all good.
That's not easy.
Alright, so everybody ready?
No, 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 1 second. It's funny as hell. Oh, sorry.
No, I'm still pulling up. it y'all the same mask, or did y'all change it?
Yeah, we did.
Only outside for PE.
No, I'm good.
Let me introduce you to the global city of the new age. Come take a ride with me. Ride into the streets of New York and fly with me. Come take a ride with me into this new age global city and ride with me. Come spend the time with me. Come stand in line with me. Take off the skies with me. Back up. Here come the master. Gentrify my land and take away my culture like he the new black dog. Mask up. He's saying back up. Coming from my ice, so you coming from my life. Let go. Back of the bus I go and I see the city go hustle, bustle. I see the hustlers hustling for $1 sign. The state of time is changing cities of our time. But let's rewind and see the city in present time. Graffiti flow when I go to the city. See my cholos, but the homies got the white people painting over the homie grab. They gentrify it and make it whiter cause black is bad. They king the market and make it out of the middle class. The middle class be a thing of the past or a thing of the future. I don't know, I guess I gotta go to class. But yet alas, I'm still in the hyper ghetto class. I live a life with a job search, live in the past. It's like a marketeer scheme trying to push us out the dream. We're the dream team now, getting bullied off the scene. We're the dream team now, we getting bullied off the scene. All my hyper ghetto homies trying to live it like a dream. Coroners take us home, now the homies getting lonely. City going up, and now we homeless with the homies. Homeless without a home, let alone we looking bony. Looking to move a home, cause we gotta feed the homies. Back to the little attack of the bathroom, running back, and I'm backing about the trap when I'm speaking about the trap. When I rap, and I rap it if I'm attacking, I'm spitting it like a magnum. Actually, I feel bad for them, cause mobilization can take away all they platinum. Capitalism battlefront, I'm getting into battle one. Hold up, my cholos, this situation no go, cause it can't be the products of gentrification no more. So that's the Assassin 13. The combination of spatial dispersal and global integration has created a new strategic growth for major cities beyond their long history as centers for international trade and banking. These cities now function in new ways. First, as highly concentrated command points and organizations of the world economy. Second, as key locations for finance and for specialized service firms. Third, as sites of production, including the production of innovations in these leading industries. And fourth, as markets for the production of innovations produced. These changes in the functioning of cities have had massive impact upon the international economy, economic activity, and urban form. Thus, a new type of city appeared in its global city. Leading examples now are New York, London, Tokyo, Frankfurt, and Paris. These three cities have undergone massive and parallel changes in their economic base, spatial organization, and social structure. Important is how transformation in cities has responded to the same dynamic. To understand the puzzle of parallel change in diverse cities, we need to examine the transformations in world economy. Yet the term global city may be reductive and it is misleading if it suggests that cities are outcomes of only outcomes of a global economic machine. There are specific places whose spaces, internal dynamics, and social structure matter. Indeed, we may be able to understand the global city, the global order, only by analyzing why key structures of the world economy are necessarily situated in cities. As transnational corporations continue to control much of the end product and to reap the profits associated with selling in the world market. The internationalization and expansion of the financial industry have brought growth to a large number of smaller financial markets, a growth which has fed the expansion of global city. But top-level control and management of the industry has become concentrated in a few leading financial centers, especially New York. The fundamental dynamic positive here is that more globalized the economy becomes, the higher agglomeration of central functions. It is relatively few sites that is in global cities. Zombies, life, what is this feeling about? Feel like brain locked in my mouth. What are we talking about when you come to the South? Bronx, New York, Brooklyn, Queens, living like queens and queens. Nowadays looking for a queen, oppression, a lesson taught when the hip hop step in. Not gonna start with oppression and the lesson. Check in. Black, brown zombies all around me. They are mobilized like a found sheep. See, I said a found sheep, not a lost sheep. Cause a lost sheep know they lost and they move around till they found peace. Never found peace, so a piece of my mind. Still a zombie. Zombies. All of these people are zombies. Let's go back to beginnings. War on drugs, war on terror. Nowadays we get pushed out by terror. Make us leave the hood in terror. Now I gotta get up, hood getting robbed by oppressors. It's about 50 more times likely for a person looking like me to go to jail for a nickel backseat. Nickel backseat, get thrown in the backseat with the hood of the black body. Now the hood ain't the hood no more, and the style ain't the style no more. And the cry as we fly by, remembering the times we combine with our minds on home, minds on hold. Hold up, many homies, when we gon' roll up? Wait, gotta stay safe. Hold up, now we gotta maintain. We in the hood right now, and that's the main thing. Feeling like I gotta keep protecting the waist, cause the homies really ain't coming together, and the police really out to get us. They a gang now with a hunger for territory, and the war on drugs engineered to kill a story so they can kill me off, get a name in the glory. I heroic when he say the hood looking kinda gory, but it's not all hood, cause they buying every story. Now I gotta write a new story, making it a story sitting on top of the old stories. It's hip hop, story time, zombies, life. War against our communities emblematizes the securitization and militarization of life itself. Our critique of the war on drugs deconstructs the securitizing project, which precipitates extinction via endless imperial wars. Graham 11. Driving the military targeting of urban life is new military doctrine around the idea that existential threats to Western society lurk within the clutter of cities. This necessitates a radical ratcheting up of techniques of tracking, surveillance, and targeting centered on circulation, mobility, and the spaces of everyday urban life. And this sets all are imagined as combatants and all terrain to the sites of battle. It becomes imperative to continually connect the effects of U.S. military aggression abroad with U.S. domestic counter-terrorist policies in the homeland. Civil law enforcement agencies are becoming remodeled along much more paramilitarized lines. They increasingly adopt language of war or to launch SWAT teams against the widening array of civilian events. Kraska has estimated that SWAT teams are called out in the U.S. about 40,000 times a year. Most are executed to serve search warrants on nonviolent drug offenders. Explicit military models increasingly sustain new ideas in penology and law enforcement doctrine. Military-style commands support zero-tolerance policing and urban surveillance practices designed to exclude failed consumers, undesirable persons from the new enclaves of urban consumption and leisure. The almost infinite metaphorization of war on drugs solidifies wider shifts to authoritarian and militarized notions of the state role as sustaining order. All too easy, but such a discourse slips into the world where life itself is war, and an inability to deal with the other beyond placing that other in the crosshairs of targeting mechanism. A continual targeting of the world has a fundamental form of knowledge reduction rights. Rachel is xenophobia to sustain this and secure this orbit. Keep the place of other as target always filled. This is where domestic and foreign conceptions of the city coverage. U.S. military theorist William Lynn, extending Huntington's Clash of Civilizations, has argued that even urban immigration must now be understood as an act of warfare. The road to the sacred nation rights apparatus, the ethnic purity and cleansing is indirect. Yeah, open your mind. Open your mind, open your mind. I don't gotta sit up in the all-black Cadillac. No, I'm too black for you not to react to me. Hip-hop and you're not gonna back with me. TikTok and I'm rocking the blackly. Skittles in my hand. No, you're about to run up on me right now. Some words stay clean, but they're so cold. Now I gotta subvert you now. Hold up. You can see a bunch of white rappers like me. They don't know what's going down. You don't need to know it. I can show it to you right now. How I hold it down for my city. They know what's going down. I make a language out language that's made for me. I change your syntax at words that I made for me. I'm with my cholos, frijoles, Spanglish, and pollos fritos. I'm working eager for mass movements of all these people. Yeah, I said people, not criminales or illegales. Hold up, I don't gotta show up in the white cloud. I'm gonna use these words with right now. I'm gonna speak graffiti with lines, rhymes, and a southern sound. I'm about to doctor with doctorates have said. Yeah, you led to believe that hip-hop and the pure is dead. Now that's dead wrong. I'm hip-hop and the pure. I'm gonna rock with war. I'm gonna transform these zombies to people. We zombies no more.
Alright, so the first question I guess I have is, what is
Sorry, my bad too. Alright, I'm good. Sorry.
Alright, what does it mean to transform a zombie into a person?
Not transforming zombies into persons. It's just a metaphor for how we, as
we as Black and Latinos have become zombies in these spaces with no ability to create change because we're not unified in any form of movement against systems of oppression. But when we transcend that barrier that stops us from unifying against these systems of oppression, then we can stop the gentrification and no longer be zombies.
Right, so what about the method of the 1AC is like a process of unification?
The method of the 1AC is hip hop. So the process of unification is through the culture, through our hip hop.
Unification?
What?
So it's just hip hop proper is a
No, our hip hop.
And with the discussion of Latinos as well, and the use of Spanish as a way of connecting Black and Brown community.
So I guess I'm still trying to figure out like what's unique to the production of the 1AC, like hip hop is
These unifications are not happening right now. We can argue that. Like
happening in
nobody there's no unification that allows us to combine, to orient ourselves towards one another. So Black and Latinos are always separated by systems of oppression because we're always seen as different from each other. But when we unify ourselves through the culture and see those differences and the clashes in those differences, then we can mobilize against systems of oppression that have
I guess I'm
called
just trying
to
to figure
this
out
one.
like, what is the specific I guess site or zone of like this non-unification.
Oh, we're talking about the hood. So specifically how we are pushed out of the hood by gentrification. So the whitening of the neighborhoods is what's causing us to be divided not only from each other but from our homeland.
Right, so that sounds like a problem with like spatialization.
Yeah, that's also what the 1AC is talking about. When the 1AC says that this performance and this unification allows us to relate to spaces in a different way, which allows us to like reclaim those spaces.
Right, but all of your evidence is like emblematic of the physical spatialization, gentrification. I'm curious how does hip hop like remedy that?
We reclaim the space, like we reverse gentrify.
So hip hop like magically puts us back in the hood, like get our boroughs back, like we get the suit back. Like I'm just curious.
Like there's no like hip hop is the unification that allows us to mobilize so that we can get those hoods back.
Alright. I guess the other question I had really quick was actually what's the justification for the start and stop of the schools?
The justification, I just felt like spitting for that.
Right,
like I wrote it for as long as I wanted to write.
For sure. Like why is there I'm just asking like the form of it, why is there like spits and card and spits like
That's just how I choose to relate to the debate round. That's how I choose to perform my 1AC. Oh, wait. You gotta take your purple now.
yeah.
can just pass me this weird fire. I don't know that too before. Gosh, no feelings, dude. Corey will hand you all the paper. This is one off.
And I feel like if you walk by a street and you was walking on concrete and you saw a rose growing out of concrete, even if it had messed up petals and it was a little, to the side, you would marvel at just seeing a rose grow in concrete. So I think that when you see some ghetto kid grow out all the dirty circumstances, you can talk to the cross, you make it smile, make it cry, make it laugh. All you can talk about is my dirty rose, my dirty stairs, and how I do it for the society. You can't even see it, I can't about it.
Yeah, that's my son. I'm so sorry. Laying in the street for hours. Hours. I'm so sorry. I ain't shit, but that's my son. Let on run. I just want some answers. I'm not being terrestrial, man. You did. Shout out to my baby box. I know it's good. You got advice? I can get my son a piece of come back.
Let me take it to the global south, because these streets are Jurassic and we may be witnessing the beginning of an era that'll mean the complete annihilation of the Immaculate Conception, where Virgin Mother Mary Jane just needs to pick up her weeds from off the ground, and she knows that this concrete rose has died, sprayed down with pesticide, and little girls only know nursery rhymes as they march and guess infanticide like Ring Around the Rosie. So call me verbal assassin, spread with the perfect etiquette into an accent, and I don't need to be a rose, no. To know that you will roll my petals to smoke a nigga who meddle in concrete policy, who meddle in concrete poetry, spitting gold policies to a world unknown in a cherry low with for zones of weed, no sticks, no seeds, no car seats, no insurance policies, and definitely no daddy, but absolutely corrupted. But AC smoked all the way down to the road with barely nothing else left. But I'm still mama's baby, an American grammar book where we might concede at the very least that sticks and bricks might break our bones, but words will most certainly kill us. We are the we who meddle in this chemical substance, who lay special claim and critical acumen, nevertheless find that the use value of material objects belongs to independently of their material properties, while their value, on the other hand, form a part of them as objects. You can call me Mara, Myra, Tamara, Anita, Juanita, black women for Marquita. The day I met you, I saw something I knew. From that point on, you were possessing a spirit that was strong, and I wanted to call you we, toe up rose, queen, roach, or presumptuous nightmare on your white pillow. Your itch to destroy the indestructible part of yourself, zombie, right? Niggas be calling me queen and shit, but I ain't got no throne, no backbone. I ain't got no backbone and bing dong. So let's go back to the beginning. Write a new story sitting on old stories. The roach la, kugahacha, pop, P.O.P. Hold it down, hyper get a homie crawling through your nightmare gums. In 13, this poem is one of the places where we see survival that goes on terms beyond human species. Conversation takes our white supremacist project to exterminate people of color, not contemporary society, but policy looks like what influencing on policy looks like the war on drugs looks like it's the war on poor people looks like it's the same project of extermination. When you take the marginalized portion of your own species, destroy the miserable part of yourself, you think that's a survival poem does deeply in a personal work of that which we want to destroy. It's really something in ourselves, words being the most technical shape, the most hideous for the future that will outlive us no matter what we do ourselves in this planet. This poem is self-survivancy, isolation, still in performances like Kukaracha, like Chica Boom does one Kukaracha, talking about how what does it mean to take status as the most hated creature in Clarence Thomas. I think it's about it is a same listen to evolution that you can demand yourself at this very moment. You can see season, that is your assignment. Survival, 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 sisters. Sharp smell, shape, scuttling secret. That one secret about being the impossible material substance of the impossible commodity. Speak about the fact that what is at stake is not what this commodity says, but that the commodity says, or more properly, that the commodity and its inability to say must be made to say, because I have never occupied a category of social and cultural agency and the legacies of symbolic power, because I have maintained no allegiance to the strategic formations of text or ways of talking about experience that even remotely resemble the paradigm of symbolic domination. Y'all was afraid that one day this roach would set your ass on fire, because a fear can be imprinted on our bodies, marking our danger and our deviance and languages of race, queerness, and terror. There must be such thing as embodied writing to reconnect abject bodies to the potential of the word. And I know that y'all wanted to legalize this roach as if I am unvoiced, missing, not doing, awaiting my verb. So let it be clear, let it be known that this object, this roach joint, has a plan. I had a plan that grew from the weeds, who grew from my concrete womb, predated tombs. Oh, I had a plan that moved beyond this narrative about racialized reproduction, teenage motherhood, and single motherhood that are called epidemic and pathologization be justified. The increased regulatory and punitive action designed to squash the outbreak of these social ills. Yeah, I had a plan, but y'all know I can't own shit, and the mass media and policy narratives of epidemic justified. Wars on poverty, drug, and combined destruction to situate disease and enemies of in the bodies of women of color. Let me take you into my room. Come take a ride with me, please. Keep the car seats clean. I don't have no Windex, no index for reverse gentrification. I don't got no class. I have no class. I don't go to class. Class comes to me. I take what's not owned, and I can't. What's not owned, and I can show you right now. Gale and 9 sampling is definitely legitimate means to culture, production, future order, practice that all original works are really fragments of all the works we manipulated, reorganized, but different manipulated to living different culture, different kinds of cultural concepts, and the different cultural concepts that all works are really available for further remanipulation, reorganization, given the most apocalyptic like condition of politics of present intervention, not of abandonment informed by the cultural and social context of what after the apocalypse is whatever is left behind, whether it be a pile of rubble or a pile of vinyl disco records of positive post-apocalypse as a foundation for hip-hop's view of originality and post-modernity. I survived those ghetto ratchet mothers. I survived those streets. I survived those gun clips and tricks that try to seize my diseased gums intended to feed the body. And through a revolution of reality, the body's not only spoken, it's also written and out from books, notes, project, no one remembers letters written by dead speakers and words that our bodily brain and remain even if they lived only the pressure came by pens and typers, even if they never had the amount of pressure is inscribed and gender on the inflection and physicality of body itself becomes an intrusion, writing safety and allergy and imagine to be linked to both images of bodies and the images of lips and demonized, criminalized, maximized bodies and imagine to lose further blackness that love containing cannot be for language. Once the works have a dependable father saying the windshield, the dream of one author who can be pointed as the owner of his speech. Writing is dangerous because it is black, deep, and violently unpredictable. Tina's work knows what will happen with those words when they materialize. They travel so far from the father's speaker they can mean anything. Writing is further dangerous human intellectual property because black people are not supposed to have authority to begin with. Language is not stable neither in production nor articulation, but it's unpredictably reproduced and playful ways to inspire makes it through. Yes, the different cyber kilometers and public language that although desire power will continue to present individuals to you to buy and sell, write down languages, home other shapes, bishop, community, customize the transition from person into properties, never fully settlement, simulations, not achievable, writing, physical, black places against white context, language is necessary. The only bit of difference is here at the shoreline, and this weed is dangerous. Gibble, get your children so high, the shoreline looks like a tidal wave, but this boat will float at the surface, ready to produce a brand new different kind of world that's Binghamton. Shoreline is dangerous like attorneys after the second generation of our quiet internationalization of social reproduction. Politics must be radically future because of the diagonal instability of the present situation. Like attorneys to quick and the generation out of the ground mode possession of development timeline that possibly fragment social society she because of the inability to refusal to reproduce properly. Like literary producers gave the critical revision of radical experiments she refuses to reproduce properly. The property curriculum is a dangerous desire to teaching something else she refuses to reproduce properly. The mark of the alternative, the mark of the criminal, the mark of the terrorist. She who refuses to reproduce property must be busy teaching us something else. She who refuses to reproduce the status quo threatens to produce a radical kind of world white attorneys and alternatives to genocide in queer time and things that ways to debunk black women ability to operate co-produce the future radical victims of the present. Queer times what happens outside of the queer that things happen organized through the inherent poverty center of nature of the physical launches, the queer understanding time measure of life, path of violence, death, out of the books, that the goods that were placed out of time have to here and now express the fact that they nor their product has direct access to longevity requiring an indication of the shoreline. I'm ready when you are.
Alright, so you Gum's piece of evidence that you
Which one?
the one that
Okay, I got it. I see it.
yeah, this one.
Okay.
She cites Jose Munoz and Moraga, who are Latino writers. Why have you decided to not highlight the way that she uses Latino writers to?
We have highlighted the way that if you look at the Gums and 13 piece of evidence, you will see that we're also the La Chica Boom and the position of the La Cucaracha. So what can these women of color, these black feminist women of color, continue to produce improperly Audre Lorde's Brown Menace poem? So it's like we do highlight. If you're not gonna win like a
what you said the 1AC is like absolutely corrupt. What does that mean?
the 1AC, our argument is that forms of corruption is an affirmation of black maternity. The ability to produce improperly, the ability to produce improperly, it's also refusal of claims to ownership. That corrupts the status of the 1AC's politics of reclamation,
Okay, so does the
of
1AC
reverse gentrification.
Does the 1AC does not own its politics? Would you say that?
What?
Does the 1AC not own its?
That's not the argument. The argument is the performance of the 1AC, particularly reverse gentrification, assumes that there are spaces to be claimed back, spaces that will be reclaimed, that we have been exiled. Our argument is that we were never meant to be there in the first place. Our argument further is that the roach scuttles through property.
So
That
what is the
roaches.
roach?
What?
What is the roach?
Like what do you mean? What is the roach?
Like you make the analogy to the roach as like a.
Well, right. So you think it's not necessarily an analogy. It's a narrative that says, hey, even in systems that seek to devalue my speaking as a commodity that doesn't get bought or sold, I still persist beyond death.
So is the solvency is like the commodity is able to speak?
Well, not necessarily. It's also the questions of interjecting into notions of property, right? That roaches scuttle through your values at noon. That's like the first gum.
So should people of color be expelled from the hood or not?
What? That's the link argument. Is the idea is that the question of exile that assumes that bodies are meant to be in our particular space. Roaches don't get exiled; they get stomped out, and they continue to live. Our argument further is that the 1AC is steeped into a pet.
So my mom used to like stomp roaches in our apartment that we lived in for 13 years. What about that is not a stable? Like, why can't we call that our home?
What?
Why can't we call the place that I've lived for 13 years my home?
Right. The last piece of Gum's evidence also talks about how just desires to replicate heteronormative patriarchal structure as per claims to home ownership is also a desire that is a avowal of the queer position.
So we don't have a home? Is that?
No, there is no such thing as home. There's no such thing as place.
Okay, thank you. We'll take that.
What's the alternative? We're like, there's not no real alternative. It's like not as like hardcore as that, like back there. I feel it's just, yeah, I think there's no real alternative. But one NEG does like a bunch of different things with the concern, but like there's no like faults. Like the regular one? Right. Right. Yeah, I have stuff. Here, I'll give you the hard copy. I can step that off also. Okay, that's fine.
I do something. Alright, the order is gonna be, you're voting on two separate pieces of paper. Alright, so then it's gonna be the 1AC and then the
Are you gonna start off with the overview, or is it like line by
yeah,
line?
it's an overview.
I'll take it.
I'm not keeping track of prep. I'll be honest.
So limited prep or no?
Or not.
Do you know how to like make this brighter?
Yeah, that little computer.
Okay, whatever, rather than
Usually if it's like a thin key somewhere.
You know, it's just dim and then not dim.
Alright.
That's the stuff.
Okay. Do you have a timer I can borrow by any chance? Or
There's one. Not gonna beat that one though.
Okay. Alright, you ready?
So what I see is an insurrection over subjugating knowledges into the debate space. Hip-hop is used as a combat strategy to alleviate the impacts of gentrification and the status quo assassin evidence indicates that New York City is becoming a global city where the financial industries or corporations are moving their headquarters while simultaneously eliminating jobs for the middle class. In other words, huge corporations are expanding the city because the functioning of the city works in a panoptic manner. The core expands in a circular manner and around the peripheries of the city. Sasson indicates that people of color, i.e. black and Latinos, were able to once live in close proximity to the city but are now being kicked out of the communities due to high income gentrification. Our hip-hop is resolution or in the direction of the topic because we begin our analysis with the war on drugs. Jason describes the state of time is changing cities of our time, but let's rewind. See the cities of present time graffiti flowing. When I go into the city, we see like Cholos, Pocahontas got the white people painting over the homie crap. They gentrify and make it whiter because black is bad. They became to market and make it out of the middle class. He then examines the war on drugs as a tool, as a method of expulsion, civil, forfeiture, and violent policing are methods of kicking us out of our homes via criminalization of drugs. Therefore, we're going to infect the entirety of the negative because our argument is that we are situated in these places that we need to fight back in order to gain access to the situation. This therefore criminalization of drugs becomes a larger sending to criminalization of black and brown bodies as a whole. Jason explains this when he says zombies. Like, what is this feeling about? Feel the brain locked in my mouth. What are you talking about when you come to the South? Bronx, New York, Brooklyn, Blitz getting robbed by a process. It's about 50 more times likely that a person looking like me will get arrested for the hood of black body. Now the hood ain't the hood no more. Now the what he sees now, not a function, focuses on the structure as a whole, i.e. destroying anti-black society structure because that is an impossible instead. Instead, we are focused on local grassroots approaches necessary to combating structures according to space and place, which is another diss that to be with a negative approach is politics because they have not described the way that they come from, the way that they are selves, so their sense of place has necessarily inflicted violence onto them now. Therefore, our focus on Brooklyn and Queens are extraordinarily important because violent systems of oppression manifest themselves differently according to space. Now, reclamation of space, i.e. painting the graffiti back on the walls of once gentrified communities is key to activating our agency and eliminating the impact of black and brown zombies. This is Johnson in 2013. Sharing struggle spaces and towns that enable black and brown people to work together for justice all through. Although race and resistance always exists in different areas, pose different problems, and provoke different solutions. The racial order and racial landscape of today's neoliberal global city very different from the income, high wages, metropolis in the 1940s, 1950s. In the midst of enormous changes and transformation, black and brown bodies resist, use the physical spaces they inhabit and discursive spaces they imagine to assert their common humanity and force shared struggles, common and mutuality, solidarity. The political histories of their arrival racial communities entail the creation of cultural formations that serve as a key conduit of collective aspirations that affected youth in their generation. Furthermore, the agents of these struggles deserve to hear and tell a better story about themselves as a people, as a collective seeking freedom, a better story that can was dominates the discourse of black and brown relations, spatial entitlement, a way in which marginalized communities have created new collectives based upon eviction and exclusion from physical spaces, but also on a new imaginative use of technology, creativity, and space. In many instances, overlooked by social resources, everyday regulations of space, distortions of social citizenship, and after political struggles have created the conditions of future success and organized, like the movement spatial entitlement, creating new articulation, new sensibilities, and new visions about the place of black and brown working class people on the local and national landscape. Therefore, when they say that they sample our shit to show that we do not have access to the spaces, is fundamentally untrue and ahistorical because hip hop is used in the Bronx to resist, and they would say that because the Bronx isn't our home, we shouldn't have resisted within the status quo, which is independent historical way that they are ahistorical and apolitical within the status quo. Now let's go on to their arguments first. We will make an argument about how we are also a form of cure for queer futurity. This is with Jones in 2009. Crazy, it's not your queerness, not idealistic, but on the way we are not yet queer. We are never touched queerness, but we felt in a form of illumination of a horizontal appeal with potential. We have never been queer, yet queerness exists for us, an identity that can be distilled from the past and used to imagine the future. Queerness is a structure and education mode of design that allows us to see reality. Quarantine of the present here and now is a prison house. We must strive in the face of here and now, totalizing rendering of reality to think and feel. And then we must never settle for the minimal transform. We must dream and act new and better pleasure. That minimal transform. We must dream and enact a better pleasure of ways of the world and ultimately new world. Queerness is a longing that propels us onward beyond romanticism and negative and tolling into the present. Queerness is that thing that let us feel that the world is not enough. That indeed something that's missing. The aesthetic, especially the queer aesthetic, frequently contains blueprints and even for a forward futurity. Queerness is also performative because it's not simply a being, but a doing for and toward the future. Queerness is essential because of the projection of the here and now and the instance of the potential or concrete possibility of another world thinking beyond the woman against static. Her system makes a project that is deeply systematic to the habituous work of queer temporality relation to spatially most infinitely the notion of straight time. Now, how is it that we are also queer? The performance of the 1AC is Jason is performing himself outside of that instance of criminality, that is a queer understanding of the way that violence operates within the status quo, because you're able to make yourself alternative, make yourself other than status in 2K12 by such as critical practices of racial signification are initiated from within the firms of core normalization, thus networks and now within the self. Is recognizes developments will always place and is developing in relation to the norm. The self is always already then essentially phenomenal, becoming rather than being. Technologies of race, law, science, community descriptions attempt to control the direction of development energy, bringing the subject in which these standards, no racial and norms moral of the individual always slip away from exceeding the conflict of an identity category precisely because they are always ultimately inheritable of the subject, rather approximates the normalized category they're performative passing into, and whichever identity that development of self by nature device by no characterization can resist the oppressive aspect of normalization that would the imperative that is to foster development, not in ways that now behavior possibilities to be aware of displaying practically the hands. This is the run self in new direction, all the way to think this other corporate problemization in terms of the self distinct or what might be understood as a disassembly of the self to disassemble the self into engage in a cultural critique and overcoming that can be explored in order to question the obvious of embodied identity. Cut that there now. We will make a perm do both and perm do you do us and perm we re-signify on the entirety of the negative strategy because there are other arguments that re-signification is good or sampling is good. Re-signification works in a similar process where we can re-signify the stuff that they said and re-signify the metaphors that have been created within the status quo. Now he doesn't underline the way that Latinos theorize the fundamental work. She cites Munoz and Moraga, who are contemporary Latino queer theorists, and their silence on their silence on these offices potentially problematic when the only connection they have to Latin America is when they say the cucaracha. But this is in effect this is Gates 2011 for a very long time when I heard race only matches with black people in the United States came to mind. This is probably sort of African American socialism for people who came from the age of civil rights movements. Even today, race is not just a black thing. Race signifies a lot of different kinds of people representing a full range of ethnicities, and African Americans in this country do not have a plan on their term of social conditions that have resulted from slavery. I think that Americans still assume this, but it turns out that all of the Africans imported to Western New Hampshire are 11 million Africans by the middle class, and of these only about 450,000 Africans in the United States. The real African American experience based on numbers alone that are folded in place now through the long southern borders in the Caribbean islands and throughout Latin America. Now, our argument is that they say that they're key for recreation of the South and of black womanhood, but black and Latino solidarity creates new ethnicities that make it harder for colonial powers to manage our subjectivities as marquez and for them within critical strategies like freedom, subjectivity, overlapping for subject positions, reverse and trisexual reality, natural and global capitalism. It's something that we don't feel black and white binding. The binding limits are focused relation between African American and whites are black and Latino subjectivities and complex subjectivities relationship for economics that transcend and trouble cause national bodies that complex person of the oppressed, complicate the perception of victimization, the oppressed, fabricate complex narratives of coping survival and resistance, the oppressed, the ability to shape how they see or seen by the rest of the social world, despite how others may see that the unification of black and Latino politics becomes the dominant catalyst of subjectivity that transports blackness from a marker of racial measure to inclusive information that society transcends racial boundaries or representation. This subjectivities make the individuals less handling colonial values hybridity creates and observe ethics and resist normative discourse control and manipulative states, describing these fusions as new identities that are or understanding of racial ethnic politics. Therefore, when they say that we don't own our homes, this is particularly problematic because when my mom went to visit her Afro-Latino friend who is from Nicaragua, she was racially black and she thought, and when we went to her home, we were going to her physical home that she owned. Now, gentrification is moving her outside of the way that's the way that they create an African-American exceptionalism. Now, the use of Latinos in the 1AC, the Latinos with an ad sign in the 1AC expresses an intertwining of Latino and Latino subjectivity that contracts with it. The often used Latino, and destroy gender binaries. This is a Hall in 2013, but churches need to know to use Latino, which was interchangeable within Latino, and because with an ad sign that the subject of objects potential in this volume, that brings forth the weight of historic traumatic grassroots organizations to reflect of suffering boost of research, thereby producing ideological struggles of Latinos understood sources and names define boundaries of their names, define categorical legacies, and defines what is not, and names of course symbolize alliances. The ad symbol expresses an intertwining of Latino subjects that contrast with the use of Latino within which masculine privilege is embodied linguistically cut that there. Therefore, there comes evidence that only talks about black womanhood would necessarily be exclusive to my transgender cousin who is a Latina female who has recently gone to surgery. Now, the ad symbol Latinos allows us to have a more inclusive pedagogy. Also, our ownership is not a white perpetuation of domination within the status quo. The arguments about re-signifying the self work very functionally the same as their cucaracha argument and their cockroach argument, and so does the new ethnicities arguments that our Marquez evidence are talking about.
Good.
Yeah.
What's the status of the permutation?
We might go for it.
Like, can you tell me, like, what's the status of permutation?
Conditional.
It's conditional?
Yeah, because we believe that there should be multiple strategies in order to combat systems of repression. So, like, if we can prove that your shit is bad, then there's no reason to do both. But in the world that we live in, there should be multiple forms of strategies.
Right, so how do you have access to the idea of multiple forms of strategies if your conditionality sentiment is already assumes that, hey, the 1 NC might not be useful? So how do you get access to the top part, what you just said?
Because even if it is useful, there's potential where you should have more than one multiple strategy.
Right, but you just said that in the event that our shit is like not useful, then you'll ditch it. So like why is it conditional? I'm assuming you're gonna win some offense. Like then why is permutation conditional?
Because if you are able to prove that your instance of cucaracha might be good for black women, our argument
it doesn't exclude
our affirmative.
Okay, what is being able to own one's home, is that like a good thing? Is that like
yes,
for black people,
why?
Latino people.
Why?
Because our argument is that these are lives that have been stable in a particular place. Now, the
These
way
are lives that what?
have been settled in a particular place. Now, the way that gentrification operates is through a very similar form of settler colonialism, but that's not a reason why we shouldn't be able to stick to the places that we are in the status quo.
So if settler colonialism is responsible for us not being able to own homes, how does the 1AC resolve that?
Through affirmation of spatial entitlement, which our piece of Johnson evidence says that has historically been used, that black and brown people have been like, these are our
So
homes.
as long as black people have land and property, it's okay.
What? Sorry?
So as long as black and brown people have access to these systems that settler colonialism has controlled,
No,
it's
not like settler colonialism owns space, therefore black and brown people own space, that's good. It's not like that. It's like, these are our spaces that we have culturally created in a specific way, and we should be able to keep those particular places.
How have we culturally created these things?
Like Puerto Rican communities tropicalize their area, like Mexican communities become a particular form of community, like black communities become particular forms of communities in these different spaces.
So but why do you choose to sequester and section off all of these forms of identities? Like,
I don't understand the question.
Why obviously parts of black culture seep into parts of brown culture. Why do we then choose to section off or partition those identities?
What is the sectioning off? We're not sectioning off.
That's your packaging of this argument. But regardless, that's fine.
Yeah.
What part of history needs to be affirmed, or like what part of history is beneficial to the 1AC?
Well, our piece of Johnson evidence kind of indicates the way that black and brown communities have used methods of spatial entitlement over the past, like in the 1940s, 1950s, to have an ownership of their spaces.
Okay. We would have to, like, no one prep.
Yeah, go on. So I was originally gonna come here with Raul, but some shit happened.
Really?
Yeah.
With his views?
Yeah.
What happened?
He said some dumb shit to me, so I was like,
oh. No, that makes sense.
You made it sound like, oh man, it's a horrible thing.
Because you didn't watch his mouth.
Basically.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And I was like, oh no, you did not just say that.
Wow. I had these glasses, I keep forgetting to bring them. Which part of I won't see you during Christmas actually.
Do you go back to the city?
No.
Oh, you don't? You should stay.
I just stay in Missouri because plane tickets are expensive.
Yeah.
So.
Good song.
No.
I mean, I walk out there.
Maybe you don't need the one out here.
you, bro. Oh, not? Oh.
You just text him.
Really? Yeah, I'm
Check
gonna
the
pick up
Facebook.
this card real quick. I'm out.
Billion things on your dad's account.
Okay.
What? There's got a billion things on your dad's account.
Bye. Just this front and back stuff is kind of confusing. So you read this holding card, right? Yeah. Which gates line is it? Which lane?
What?
Which gates card is it?
It's
Here, just put a sticky note on it. Here, can you put a sticky note?
this one.
Put a sticky note on all
All
the
the cards,
sides.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. It's like the television.
I have a reason for when I read it.
So y'all taking prep or?
Yeah, we're prepping. Yeah. I'm just looking.
Just leave it 12.
Instead.
Who's this? Gaylor?
Yeah.
On future?
Right.
From capstone paper. I came into this round looking for sites for my capstone paper.
Next year?
No.
Huh? I have to do it next semester. What?
That's what
Oh. Yeah, I'll give that. I saw it looking at it. I'll do it way back, I promise. You should probably text me your mind. I have the article, I just don't have the papers.
Well, I'm just thinking about my capstone paper. That I haven't even started on.
There's so many of those.
What? Fail this class.
Is it just that flow?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's basic.
Hold on, let me take like 10 seconds. Right?
Yeah,
Oh, let me write that down. So we got. Yep.
I'm finishing this piece, but that is the shape of where I am. Okay. And I'm going on to something else, the shape of which I have no idea. All I think I know is it's going to be quite different. What I leave behind has a life of its own. I'm saying it about the very artifact of who I have been.
The framing for this round is that you adjudicate and decide who advances the best medical of survival for growth within the academic space. You do not have the ability to adjudicate whether or not the poetics and hip hop can place or black and brown bodies on a black bag are astute because our protection of theories never manifest within this room. This means that our positions in the world's curriculum to be spread within the space and the burden upon the affirmative, the proof of their fixation upon the materiality of the body and impacts predicated often serve as survival strategies that's accessible to the roach. You weigh their impacts against ours less as a comparative act, rather as a means to determine whether or not materiality focuses the best lesson that should be articulated for the survival of roaches. Now, our alternative is a production of good black maternity, production of objects with their own subjectivity and space designed to eradicate their existence as an affirmation of products that black bodies produce as means for their survival. The alternative is to form the positionality of the object as a queer rejection of the violence we perform the survival technique through the sampling of the one to teach that ownership, one, is violence inside of colonialism, and two, we should be in the constant state of recreation through a poetic deviancy. Now, Edmond Barnett indicates that scientifically tell us that our bodies are made of organic calcium, phosphorus, potassium, sulfur, and a whole lot of water, but the rate of inflation of our bodies are worth about $10 a week. Just a bit of dust from clay. We are just dust out this little mudman to carry around. The great spirit of body is simply earthly vehicle where a spiritual instinct gets round, and a physical environment, the real structure of the spirit, the human spirit. Now, we say that the frame and the impact framing for you within the space who advances this pedagogy of survival that allows for the spiritual, for a mode of spiritualism that can survive within the academic space. And you aren't going to give them any of the impact framing because all of it is predicated off the physicality and the spatialization of bodies and how they operate within certain communities. We say that I've already made that framing, but for why? One, you don't have the ability to adjudicate whether or not they can garner solvency on the question. Now, two, I'm going to make a double turn argument here, and they're Holland and 13 evidence they indicate that the use of Latino with the at sign is a way to problematize the positing the Latino/Latina because it creates an instance of patriarchy. Now, the Marquez and 13 evidence states examples of hybrid black Latino/Latina subjectivity are the product of an independent cultural, political, and economic oppression described as a contemporary biopower. Now, this is going to be problematic because this debate is about the scholarship that we produce within academic space. They have already made the argument on the K-flow that there needs to be certain signifiers, that there needs to be certain modes of disidentification, so that certain bodies have ability to survive within certain spaces more so in how we produce scholarship. Now, this is their indictment on the ghost evidence. The reason that they're going to lose this debate independently is because they have further propagated this mode of violence that they say is problematic, that they say that we need to move away from. Now, this is uniquely violent for the affirmative because their argument is that disidentification and reclamation of spaces is necessary for the continued survival and for the continued survival and the continued expression of pedagogy. Now, you hold them entities to justify why they get to say that violence is bad and the affirmative should be valued for that, and then perform that mode of violence. Also, the problem with not starting with queer black maternity is that black maternity in the compensation spatialization is that it ignores the explicit ways in which the brown body or the native body and the colonizer have empirically excluded the quote unquote black female body from regaining spaces because it leads to a mode because it's seen as a mode of demonization. This is Tiffany King at 13. Black female slave bodies are valuable to both the project of cellular colonial spatial expansion, slavery's production of functional forms of property. During slavery, they represent the production of cellular space, clearing the native land, and the accumulation of property functions as a metanym for uneven increasing expansion of malleability, a kind of Hartmanian fungibility that enables the settler to imagine land, property, sexuality, spatial constants to denote expansion and settlement. When the settler surveys the black female body, the settler can imagine the land, territory, and property and spatial coordinates expanding. Black female bodies, the cyber conversion, settler colonialism, and slavery become viable and coherent. Post emancipation off the plantation, however, slavery is afterlife. Black female bodies are constructed and represented as impeding spatial expansion and frustrating efforts to turn black female flesh into property. Black female bodies are seen as reproducers of surplus population that get in the way of expansion and accumulation of capital off the plantation. Black female bodies must contain these unruly and excessive black female bodies appear as tropes of disorganization, unfit mothers, a threat to the environment, and chaos-inducing transnational subjects working with Native women in space and coalition. These bodies disrupt settlements, discourse, and let is bad for a new era in which theorize the presence of black bodies in settler colonial nation states by using culture to practice everyday life in the social production of spaces. As a mode of analysis, I am able to theorize the ways that black female bodies function as a location where slavery, anti-black racism, and settler colonialism meet. Now, also, our Patel evidence makes a clear indication for why there needs to
be a deconstruction of securitizing knowledge within academic space from there. This is emblematic when they say that we need to reclaim our shit, that we need to take it back for tail. And 14 indicates that in academy, knowledge is property, data publications, even reputation are property that is protected whiteness, has maintained its hegemonic hold over figure and material social society structure through property rights to knowledge that prioritizes and perpetuates set of colonialism, which requires certification between those who are property owners and those who are not. The academy and educational research to codify knowledge as knowable graduate student discussion spaces are likely dedicated to wondering what it has to do when a professor stole a graduate student's idea about which thirst for property that is core to cellular structures limited in nature, therefore most handily